What's up guys, Carmine here, and I just got done watching the first 2 episodes of Amazon's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, still a terrible name, and I've gotta say, I'm very impressed. At the same time, I'm also very whelmed. I'm not overwhelmed, I'm not underwhelmed, I'm very whelmed. And I should also offer condolences to all the Tolkien superfans and scholars out there who I know are crying out in pain. Believe me, as someone who is a massive, massive Witcher fan, I understand what you're going through. That being said, I'm not a Tolkien scholar. I'm familiar with the lore, as in I know who Morgoth is, I know who Iluvatar is, the basics, but I don't know everything. I don't know Galadriel's shoe size, I don't know the color of Gil-galad's cock ring, all of which I assume are detailed in the Silmarillion, but I do love Lord of the Rings enough to have a marathon of the extended edition twice a year, and I've done this for the last 10 years. Those movies are near and dear to me. That being said, I came to watch Rings of Power with an open mind and to be entertained. Was I? Yeah. As much as I hate to parrot every other review website out there, they weren't wrong. This is one of the most beautiful looking television shows I've ever seen. Everything just looked so damn good and vibrant, and I definitely feel like we're back in Middle-earth. All that being said, the actors, all of them did a very good job, but some people were saying to me that the elves had some cringy dialogue. Well, yeah, they're elves. They're gonna sound like weirdo edgelords and fedora-wearing virgins. The only reason it's not gross is because they're ridiculously good-looking and enjoy taking showers. I also have to give them props for the map locations showing where the story is taking place, and House of the Dragon. Going forward, you guys really need to take notes from this immediately. Part of my annoyance with Lord of the Rings and that whole world has always been the gibberish when it comes to names and location. Game of Thrones doesn't have this problem, for the most part, and I love that. I know where King's Landing is and how it's not right next to Winterfell, but if you ask me where Minas Tirith is, I'd tell you it's right next to the Burger King. I don't know where everything is in this world, so props to them for including a map to segue to the next subplot. It's a fantastic addition to the show, and more fantasy shows need to have it because I shouldn't have to Google where everything takes place. I will say, however, that the first episode didn't have me as excited as I wanted to be. I know a lot of people didn't like the exposition-heavy first 20 minutes, but I really didn't mind it. I know I'm not much of an extensive lore guy, but I'll never complain when a lovely British voice explains to me why Sauron is a douche and they gotta go beat him up. But I will agree, it is a slow burn, and I'm very happy that Amazon chose to release the first 2 episodes, though they probably should have released the first 3 if I'm being honest here. The first episode was a slow burn, episode 2 picked it up quite a bit, and I feel like episode 3 would have gotten us off to the real start, but we'll just have to wait till next week. But so far, I am invested. I'm invested in the mystery of Sauron's disappearance and who the man in the fallen star is. I'm also curious about what's going on in the Southlands and what the dwarves are really up to. Now, I know some of you guys didn't like it, but I really didn't have a problem with all the switching back and forth through plot lines, mainly because I'm a fan of Game of Thrones and it is quite a bit. If you're going to have a large cast like this where their storylines will eventually cross each other's paths, then it's necessary. So if you like the first season of HBO's Thrones, then you shouldn't have too much of an issue here. All that being said, would I recommend this show to the average Lord of the Rings or fantasy viewer? Yeah, I would. But I also wouldn't fault you for waiting a few weeks to binge more episodes, because it really needs that time to cook. I really want to wait a few more episodes before saying if the show is good or not, but so far it's very decent, and there's a lot to enjoy here. However, I do understand that many fans kind of feel like this is a lackluster premiere. Tolkien's world is held in such high regard that anything less of perfection is an insult. The man sits on the Mount Rushmore of fantasy writers, and his world gave life to many fantasy titles we enjoy today. Ice and Fire, Witcher, Elder Scrolls, Warhammer Fantasy. I get it, but I also think we should let Amazon tell this story and give it a shot. But at the same time, I have to ask, why mess with the lore? I know, like, this skewers the lore a bit, but Tolkien's world is big enough to where they could have made their own original characters, which we saw them here, without changing established characters. So why not do that instead of making Galadriel and Elrond the main focus? And I have to wonder if they thought that they needed big-name characters to drive fans to watch, but I think people would have tuned in regardless considering it's Lord of the Rings. That being said, I'd still give it a few more episodes before I decide to continue with it. But guys, that is it for today. I'll be doing a Rings of Power podcast with resident insane person Preston Jacobs very soon, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video. It helps out a lot. Also be sure to let me know your thoughts down below on how much you enjoyed or didn't enjoy the episode. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.